Have you ever felt like you've gotten stuck on the road to greatness? Maybe life is calling you to step up to something bigger, but it feels like you keep hitting the same obstacles. Don't have enough time, don't have enough money, don't have the resources or support you need. And after a while, it can feel like you're just stuck. And life has gotten stagnant. You're not progressing anymore. You're not growing anymore. You're not thriving. You're just kind of going through the motions. What do you do when you don't have the time or the money you need to succeed? If that's you, if you've ever felt stuck, I want to share with you 3 keys for unlocking that door so we can restore your momentum. Now, I heard a quote years ago from a guy named Larry Winget, and he's a motivational speaker. He actually refers to himself as a demotivational speaker. He's the pit bull of motivation, he says. And he has this quote. He says, if you don't have as much work as you want, either you're not as good as you think you are, or you're not making enough phone calls. What I've found is generally it's number 2, because the more phone calls you make, the more experience you have, the more exposure you have, and the more your skills begin to raise up and elevate. Phone calls, being in communication, solves most problems. Let me ask you a question about finances. Let's say that something has happened to your bank account, you can't access your money, you can't pull any money out, you can't put money in, you don't have any cash on hand. So you have no way to transfer funds and your cell phone bill is due. How would you solve that problem? You can't pay him with a card, you can't write a check, you can't pay him in cash. All that has been blocked. How would you cover the cell phone bill? Would you call the phone company and tell them your situation and say, hey, can you just kind of let me get back to you next week? Would you call a friend and said, gosh, I'm really embarrassed, but Ukrainian hackers have shut down my bank account. Would you cover my cell phone bill? I'll get you paid next week once it's back in. How would you solve that problem? Would you go round up bottle caps and tin cans and take them to the recycling center and get $200 in cash or whatever and pay it that way? Notice that what you would do to solve the cell phone bill problem involves communication. And through communication is almost all of the resources you need. Money is a byproduct of being in communication. So if you're stuck, if you feel like you don't have the life that you're looking for, the time or the money or the resources or the excitement, these 3 keys will restore that momentum, my friend. First key, where in your life can you say no? Where can you renegotiate something that's no longer working for you? Maybe it used to work, but now it doesn't. Where can you renegotiate, or where can you just flat out say no? You know what? We're no longer going to work with this type of customer. We're no longer going to work in this type of industry. You know what? I'm not going to mow the grass anymore. I'm going to find another way to do that. Where can you say no? Usually whenever we are experiencing a loss of freedom, a loss of power, or a loss of self-expression, usually it involves us not being in communication about what's not working for us anymore. Now, we might have good reasons. We might say, well, I can't say that because they'll just be mad. Or I can't say that because it's unreasonable. Or I can't say that because no one else can say it. Whatever, we have good reasons, but they're not serving us. It doesn't work. And it leaves us with a loss of freedom, a loss of power, a loss of self-expression. So where can you say no or renegotiate something that's no longer serving you? The second thing for restoring the momentum, where can you tell the whole truth? Sometimes we want to share what's going on, but we sugarcoat it so much that it no longer really represents what's really going on. And without knowing what's going on, then nobody can help and we can't get the difference. So where are we holding back and not telling the whole truth? And the third thing that we can do to unlock that momentum is asking for help. So I offer you these 3 things. Where can you say no or renegotiate? Where can you tell the whole truth, or where can you ask for help? The more you get in communication, the more resources flow into your life. Money is a byproduct of being in communication, communicating your value to the world so that they can pay you in exchange for that value. And money is also a byproduct of getting us the ability to make a bigger difference. So these 3 keys. Now, if you're starting to think, you're like, you know what? There is a place where I could renegotiate something that's no longer serving me. Or maybe, there is a place where I need to say no, and I've been dragging my feet about it. I want to share with you a way to say no or renegotiate in such a way that it causes the other person to say thank you, because it honors the relationship, it builds the emotional bank deposits, and it still gets you what you need. Let's take a look at that. All right, this is the AIR pattern. This is the AIR pattern. One of my clients, she very busy running a multi-six-figure year business, and a mom with 4 kids. So she has all of these things and demands on her time, and oh my gosh, it gets crazy. She used the AIR formula to free up an extra 10 hours in her home life last week. So you think of all the duties that we have to do at home, trash and dishes and cooking and cleaning and preparation and kids and bedtime and homework and She used the AIR pattern to create 10 hours where there wasn't 10 hours. And consequently, that allowed her to spend more time with her family, to make a bigger difference in her kids' lives, and to move closer to what she felt life was calling her to next. Let's take a look at the AIR pattern and how it works. You might have had the opportunity to maybe ask somebody a question, ask for what you want. And you might have experienced the anxiety, oh no, but if I ask that, they might say no. So we make our request. Will you let me borrow your car? Or will you help me paint the house this weekend? Or whatever the request is. Well, now that we've got the request out there, oh no, what if they say no? And the request kind of tends to be a yes or no situation. And that's bad for us, and it's bad for them, and it's this cold, awkward feeling. Let me show you something different to do about the request that creates a synergistic approach. Also, when you start with the request, it can be kind of an affront. So here's what you do instead. You want to get on the same side of the table as them. So you're both looking at the same problem from the same point of view. And you do that by starting with an acknowledgement. In this lady's case, she said, I just want to acknowledge that I've been making dinner 5 nights a week for the past 15 years. And we've always done it that way. That's just how we've done it around here. And after the acknowledgement of the situation, then you provide some background information. Holy moly, I'm missing a few words. Add a few more letters to that. There we go. Provide a little bit of background. And so she says, the thing is, I hate cooking. I just hate it. It's emptying and draining and unfulfilling. I hate cooking. And then you ask a question. And in this case, you're looking for a team response. So she says, how else could we handle this situation? Ended with this 20-minute, incredibly supportive conversation she has with her husband, and they find a solution that now works for both of them. Start with an acknowledgement of the situation. Hey, I know that we've always been doing it this way. I know that, I've never said anything. You've always been able to count on me for this. We've always charged this a month. Start with an acknowledgement, then provide some background information. The thing is, it's not working for me anymore. The thing is, I find myself stressed. The thing is, I don't have the time that I used to for that. And end with a request. How else can we handle this situation? I think you'll find, more often than not, you get the time, the money, the resources, and the support you need to succeed. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.